The Galactic Council, the most powerful governing body in the galaxy, was hosting a grand assembly on their massive, opulent space station. This meeting was supposed to be a showcase of their dominance and control over the galaxy. Representatives from countless alien species were present, each eager to see the latest developments in the Council's agenda. Among the crowd, a new human envoy named Daniel Rivers was about to make his debut. Daniel had been chosen to represent Earth, a planet that the Council and its members had long viewed as insignificant. The Council had often dismissed humans as primitive and unimportant. Daniel's presence at this high-profile meeting was seen as a mere formality, a token gesture that no one expected to have any impact. As the meeting began, the Council's grand speaker, a tall and imposing alien with shimmering scales named Zorath, took to the stage. His voice echoed through the grand hall, filled with a sense of pride and authority. Zorath's eyes glittered as he spoke. Today, we welcome representatives from lesser-known worlds. We are particularly intrigued by the human envoy. Let us see what Earth has to offer. The crowd buzzed with curiosity, but the murmur quickly turned into laughter as Zorath continued. He began to ridicule humanity's achievements, mocking their technology and cultural advancements. We hear the humans have built impressive structures and created many inventions, Zorath said, his tone dripping with sarcasm. Yet, they still use outdated methods and primitive tools. It is almost endearing to see them try. The laughter grew louder, filling the hall. Daniel stood silently at the back of the room, his face showing no sign of discomfort or anger. His training had prepared him for such scenarios, and he was determined to maintain his composure. He knew that the Council's mockery was not just a personal insult, but a reflection of their broader underestimation of humanity. When it was finally Daniel's turn to speak, he stepped forward with calm confidence. The room fell silent, the Council members curious to see how he would respond. Daniel addressed them with a clear, steady voice. I understand that humanity's achievements may seem modest compared to the grandeur of the Galactic Council. However, I assure you that we have capabilities and strengths that are not immediately apparent. A murmur of surprise rippled through the audience. Zorath raised an eyebrow, his amusement clearly fading. And what might those be? He asked, his voice tinged with skepticism. Daniel's gaze was unwavering as he replied, You will find that underestimating humanity is a mistake. We are resilient, resourceful, and more advanced than you realize. Perhaps in time, you will come to see the value in what we bring to the galaxy. With that, Daniel stepped back, leaving the Council to ponder his words. The atmosphere in the hall had shifted. What had started as a session of mockery was now tinged with a sense of intrigue. The Council members exchanged glances, unsure of how to interpret the human envoy's calm and confident demeanor. As the meeting continued, the initial laughter had faded, replaced by an uneasy curiosity. The Council's arrogance was momentarily shaken, and Daniel's understated but firm response had planted the seeds of doubt. The mocking tone that had filled the room was replaced by a quiet anticipation of what was to come. Daniel knew that this was just the beginning. The real test of humanity's strength was yet to come. But for now, he had managed to turn the tide from mockery to interest, setting the stage for what would become a dramatic and unforeseen series of events. The Galactic Council's mockery of humanity had spread like wildfire across the galaxy. News of their ridicule and the human envoy's unexpected response quickly reached countless worlds. While many aliens were entertained by the Council's arrogance, others began to take notice of the humans' calm defiance. Back on Earth, the atmosphere was tense. The news of the Council's disrespect had ignited outrage among humans. Earth's leaders and scientists, who had been quietly observing the Council's activities from the shadows, were now urgently discussing their response. They were well aware that the Council's mockery was more than just a slight. It was a serious challenge to Earth's position in the galaxy. In a secret underground facility, a group of high-ranking officials and military leaders gathered. They were surrounded by advanced technology and screens displaying various galactic maps and data. General Roberts, a seasoned military leader, looked grim as he addressed the group. The Galactic Council has underestimated us. We've always known they look down on humanity, but their recent actions have gone too far. It's time to show them what we're really capable of. Dr. Elena Ramirez, a leading scientist on Earth's Advanced Technology Program, nodded in agreement. We have been working on hidden projects for years. Now is the time to bring them into the light. Our allies have been preparing for this moment, and we need to coordinate our efforts. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, different alien factions reacted to the news in varied ways. Some were amused, while others were deeply intrigued. On a distant planet, an alien known as Varnak, who had always respected humanity's resilience, watched the reports with growing interest. If humans are as resourceful as they claim, then we must pay attention, Varnak thought. The Council's arrogance may have just awoken a sleeping giant. Back on Earth, as the days passed, a series of covert operations were set in motion. Earth's hidden allies, long believed to be mere rumors, began to make their presence known. Ships and technologies that had been kept secret for decades were mobilized. The Hidden Legion, a legendary group said to have advanced technology and immense power, began to prepare for action. At the same time, Daniel Rivers, the human envoy who had been mocked, was working tirelessly to rally support. He met with leaders, strategists, and key figures to ensure that humanity was united in their response. He was determined to prove that the Council's mockery was a grave mistake. We have the resources, the allies, and the will to show them that humanity is not to be underestimated, Daniel said during one of his meetings. The Council, unaware of the full extent of Earth's preparations, continued their business as usual. They were confident that their power and influence would keep them safe from any retaliation. But as the days turned into weeks, they began to sense a change in the galaxy's atmosphere. Reports of strange activities and unusual ship movements began to filter through their intelligence networks. The shockwave of the Council's mockery had triggered a chain reaction. Earth, with its hidden allies, was preparing to demonstrate its true strength. The galaxy was on the brink of witnessing a transformation that would challenge the very foundations of power and arrogance that the Galactic Council had built over millennia. The Council's once unshakable confidence was now being tested. They had mocked humanity, but in doing so, they had underestimated the resolve and potential of a species ready to fight for its dignity and place in the galaxy. The stage was set for a dramatic confrontation, and the galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The Galactic Council's headquarters was a hub of activity and power, its sprawling halls and command centers constantly buzzing with the latest updates and strategic discussions. But on this particular day, an unusual and unexpected event began to unfold, sending ripples of shock through the Council's ranks. It started with a routine scan of space traffic. Council officers, accustomed to monitoring thousands of ships and interstellar communications, noticed something strange. A massive unidentified fleet was approaching Council territory. The fleet's origin was unknown, and its signature didn't match any known technology. It appeared out of nowhere, as if it had materialized from the void. Grand Speaker Zorath, who had once mocked the human envoy, was now faced with an unsettling reality. The space station's main viewing deck was filled with Council members and high-ranking officials, all eyes fixed on the screens showing the approaching fleet. A sense of unease began to permeate the room as the fleet drew closer. "Is this some kind of joke?" Zorath demanded, his voice trembling slightly despite his efforts to appear composed. "We need answers. Immediately!" Council technicians scrambled to gather information about the mysterious fleet. The data they received was both perplexing and alarming. The fleet consisted of sleek, powerful ships that seemed to defy current technological understanding. Their stealth capabilities and advanced shields were beyond anything the Council had ever seen. As the fleet entered the Council's space, it executed a series of precise and deliberate maneuvers. The ships formed a perfect formation, their coordinated movements revealing a level of expertise and precision that left the Council officials dumbfounded. It was clear that this was no ordinary fleet. It was a highly trained and formidable force. The Grand Speaker ordered an immediate diplomatic communication, hoping to learn more about these new arrivals. The communication channel crackled to life, and a stern, authoritative voice echoed through the Council's main chamber. "This is the Hidden Legion. We have arrived in response to the mockery of Earth's representative." The name Hidden Legion sent a shiver through the Council members. The Hidden Legion was a legendary and mythical group said to possess technology and power beyond imagination. Many believed they were a mere tale, a story to scare children or to boast about ancient history. Yet here they were, very real and very imposing. Zorath's face paled. "Why have you come here?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "Our purpose is clear," the Hidden Legion's representative replied. "We are here to ensure that the arrogance of the Galactic Council does not go unchecked. We have come to demonstrate that humanity is not to be underestimated." The Council was thrown into a state of confusion and panic. The Hidden Legion's arrival was a direct challenge to their authority, and the Council's previously unshakable confidence was now replaced by a growing sense of fear. They had mocked humanity, and now they were facing a powerful force that was determined to make them pay for their arrogance. In the midst of this turmoil, Daniel Rivers, the human envoy who had been at the center of the Council's scorn, stood in his quarters, watching the unfolding events with a mix of relief and anticipation. The Hidden Legion's arrival was the first step in a dramatic shift in power, one that he had hoped for but had not fully expected. As the Hidden Legion's ships continued their approach, the galaxy watched in awe and anxiety. The Council's mockery had led to the appearance of a mysterious and formidable force, and the balance of power in the galaxy was on the brink of a major transformation. The stage was set for an epic confrontation, and everyone was eager to see how this new chapter in galactic history would unfold. The arrival of the Hidden Legion had shaken the Galactic Council to its core. With their advanced ships now positioned in orbit around the Council's main space station, the atmosphere was tense. The Council's once confident demeanor was replaced by anxiety and uncertainty. The Council members gathered in their command center, staring at the displays showing the imposing fleet outside. Grand Speaker Zorath paced nervously, his scales shifting color in response to his agitation. "We underestimated them," he muttered. "We thought the humans were insignificant. Now we face a force we did not anticipate." The Hidden Legion's ships were sleek and elegant, their designs far superior to anything the Council had seen. They moved with a grace and precision that spoke of highly advanced technology and unparalleled skill. Each ship was a marvel of engineering, equipped with energy shields and weaponry that seemed to defy the known limits of science. Without warning, the Hidden Legion began a series of demonstrations that left the Council in awe and fear. The ships performed intricate maneuvers, showcasing their agility and speed. They executed complex formations, weaving in and out of each other with flawless coordination. The displays were not just about power, they were a clear message. The Hidden Legion was not only formidable, but also highly skilled. Next, the Hidden Legion decided to demonstrate their firepower. A series of controlled energy bursts were launched into empty space, carefully avoiding any damage to the Council's station or nearby ships. Each burst was precise and devastating, creating stunning visual effects and showing the raw power of their weaponry. The energy pulses exploded into brilliant colors, lighting up the void of space in a dazzling display. The Council watched in stunned silence. The energy bursts were not just impressive, they were a stark reminder of the Hidden Legion's capabilities. The Council's attempts to gauge the full extent of their power were met with a chilling realization. They were dealing with a force far beyond their expectations. Grand Speaker Zorath, trying to regain some composure, addressed the Hidden Legion. "We acknowledge your power," he said, his voice strained. "But why this show of strength? What is it that you want from us?" The Hidden Legion's representative, a tall figure with an air of commanding authority, responded calmly. "We are here to show you that your mockery of humanity was a grave mistake. We want to ensure that such arrogance does not go unpunished. The strength you see here is just a fraction of what we can bring to bear." As the demonstration continued, the Galactic Council realized that they were facing a new reality. The Hidden Legion's show of power was more than just a display. It was a strategic move to force the Council into a position of weakness. The once unshakable Council now found itself on the defensive, grappling with the implications of the Hidden Legion's arrival. Back on Earth, Daniel Rivers watched the events unfold with a mixture of pride and relief. The Hidden Legion had proven their point, and the mockery that had sparked this conflict was now being met with undeniable strength. The shift in power was clear, and the Council's once unquestionable dominance was now under serious threat. The galaxy watched with bated breath as the Hidden Legion's demonstration came to a close. The Council was left to confront the reality of their situation, and the stage was set for a confrontation that would reshape the balance of power. The show of strength was over, but the true test of resolve and strategy was just beginning. The Galactic Council's command center was a hive of frantic activity. The show of power by the Hidden Legion had left the Council reeling, their once unshakable confidence now shattered. The realization that they were facing a force capable of challenging their supremacy was beginning to sink in. The Council members knew they had to act swiftly to avoid further humiliation and potential defeat. Grand Speaker Zorath, now more anxious than ever, convened an emergency meeting with the Council's top advisors and military leaders. The room was filled with a tense silence as Zorath addressed the assembly. "We must find a way to counter the Hidden Legion. Their display of strength has made it clear that we cannot face them alone. We need to seek alliances with other powerful factions." Zorath's suggestion was met with a murmur of agreement. The Council's intelligence reports had identified several influential and powerful factions throughout the galaxy. If they could secure their support, it might turn the tide in their favor. In the following days, the Council reached out to these factions, seeking to form new alliances. Diplomatic envoys were sent to meet with leaders and representatives from various worlds. The Council's message was one of urgency and desperation. They needed allies to confront the Hidden Legion and restore the balance of power. The response from the factions was mixed. Some were wary of getting involved in a conflict that did not directly concern them. Others were intrigued by the opportunity to challenge the Hidden Legion's formidable power. The Council's envoys worked tirelessly, offering promises of mutual benefits and protection in exchange for support. Meanwhile, on Earth, Daniel Rivers and the Hidden Legion were preparing for their next move. The Hidden Legion's leader, known only as Commander Rin, had been in constant communication with Earth's leaders. They were working together to form a unified front against the Council's attempts to regroup and forge alliances. Commander Rin's approach was strategic and calculated. "We must be vigilant," Rin advised Daniel. The Council's attempts to form alliances could change the dynamics of this conflict. "We need to ensure that their efforts do not succeed." Daniel nodded in agreement. "We will continue to strengthen our own position and work with our allies. Our goal is to ensure that humanity's place in the galaxy is respected and that the Council's arrogance is dealt with decisively." As the Council's diplomatic efforts continued, a key development occurred. One of the factions they had approached, known as the Zalor Consortium, agreed to a provisional alliance. The Zalor were a technologically advanced species with significant resources, and their support was a crucial gain for the Council. The Zalor's decision was influenced by their own interests and ambitions. They saw an opportunity to expand their influence and gain an advantage over the Hidden Legion. The Provisional Alliance was formalized with a series of agreements and promises of mutual assistance. With the Zalor Consortium on their side, the Council felt a renewed sense of confidence. They began to regroup and strategize, preparing for the next phase of the conflict. The formation of this new alliance marked a significant shift in the dynamics of the struggle. Daniel and the Hidden Legion continued to monitor the situation closely. The Council's newfound strength through alliances was a challenge, but it also provided an opportunity for further strategic maneuvers. As the galaxy braced itself for the escalating conflict, the stage was set for a dramatic confrontation that would test the resolve and determination of all parties involved. The Galactic Council's new alliance had given them a boost of confidence. With the Zalor Consortium's support and promises from other factions, the Council began to formulate a comprehensive battle plan. The Council's war room, filled with holographic maps and tactical displays, was abuzz with activity as the high-ranking officials and military strategists worked tirelessly. Grand Speaker Zorath, standing at the center of the room, addressed his advisors. "We now have the support of powerful allies. Our first priority is to consolidate our forces and develop a strategy that will allow us to regain control and push back against the Hidden Legion and their human allies." The room's main display flickered to life, showing the current positions of the Council's fleet, the Hidden Legion's ships, and the new Zalor forces. The plan was to use this combined strength to launch a coordinated offensive against the Hidden Legion. The Council aimed to strike a decisive blow that would force the Hidden Legion into retreat and reassert the Council's dominance. The strategy involved a multi-pronged approach. The Zalor Consortium, with their advanced technology, would lead a frontal assault, targeting the Hidden Legion's most vulnerable points. Their ships were equipped with powerful energy weapons and advanced stealth systems. making them a formidable force in the upcoming battle. Meanwhile, the Council's own fleet, reinforced by the new allies, would conduct diversionary operations. These forces were tasked with drawing the Hidden Legion's attention away from the main attack and creating opportunities for the Zaylor to strike. The goal was to overwhelm the Hidden Legion with a combination of direct and indirect attacks, exploiting any weaknesses in their defenses. Grand Speaker Zorath's plan also included a series of electronic warfare tactics designed to disrupt the Hidden Legion's communications and coordination. By jamming their signals and creating false data, the Council hoped to create confusion and weaken the effectiveness of the Hidden Legion's response. On Earth, Daniel Rivers and Commander Rin were aware of the Council's preparations. They knew that the Council's new alliances meant that the upcoming battle would be more challenging. In response, they began to develop their own counter-strategies. The Hidden Legion's forces, still formidable and well-prepared, were ready for the fight. Commander Rin gathered his top commanders for a briefing. "We are facing a coalition with significant power. Our goal is to counter their strategy with precision and adaptability. We must use our strengths to outmaneuver them and protect our key assets." Daniel and Rin decided to focus on reinforcing their own defensive positions and preparing for potential surprise attacks. They worked to ensure that their forces were well coordinated and ready to adapt to the Council's tactics. The Hidden Legion's advanced technology and strategic expertise would play a crucial role in countering the Council's offensive. As the two sides prepared for the coming battle, the tension in the galaxy reached a new height. The stakes were high, and both the Council and the Hidden Legion knew that the outcome of this conflict would have far-reaching consequences. The galaxy's attention was fixed on the unfolding events. With the battle plan in place and both sides readying for conflict, the stage was set for a confrontation that would test the strength, strategy, and resolve of all parties involved. The upcoming battle would be a decisive moment in the struggle for dominance and respect in the galaxy. The day of the great battle had arrived, and the galaxy was on edge. The Galactic Council and its newly formed alliance, led by the Zaylor Consortium, prepared to confront the Hidden Legion and their human allies. Both sides were poised for a confrontation that would determine the future of galactic power. In the vast expanse of space, the Council's fleet, augmented by the Zaylor's advanced ships, assembled in a formidable formation. The Zaylor ships gleamed with their cutting-edge technology, ready to strike at the Hidden Legion. The Council's forces, now more numerous and better equipped than before, were confident that their combined strength would overwhelm their opponents. On the other side, the Hidden Legion's ships, sleek and powerful, stood in a defensive position. Commander Rin, with his strategic mind, had prepared his forces for this exact moment. Their ships were heavily fortified and ready to use their advanced tactics to counter the Council's assault. Daniel Rivers, observing from a secure location, knew that this battle would test the resolve and skill of both sides. The battle began with a burst of energy as the Zaylor ships launched their initial assault. Brilliant beams of light cut through the darkness of space as they targeted the Hidden Legion's defensive positions. The energy blasts were precise and powerful, creating spectacular explosions as they struck their targets. The Hidden Legion responded swiftly. Their ships, agile and well-coordinated, used their advanced shields and countermeasures to deflect the incoming attacks. The Legion's fighters darted through the battlefield, launching counterstrikes with deadly accuracy. The first clash of firepower was intense and chaotic, with both sides exchanging blows in a dazzling display of technology and tactics. Meanwhile, the Council's diversionary forces executed their strategy. Small groups of ships carried out hit-and-run attacks, drawing the Hidden Legion's attention away from the main assault. These diversions created openings for the Zaylor forces to exploit, but the Hidden Legion's defenders were quick to adapt. Their ships maneuvered expertly, closing gaps and maintaining a strong defensive posture. The battle intensified as the fleets engaged in close-quarters combat. The Council's forces, bolstered by their allies, tried to press their advantage. Their ships moved in synchronized formations, aiming to outflank the Hidden Legion's defenses. Explosions lit up the space around them as energy weapons and missiles collided. Despite the Council's numerical superiority, the Hidden Legion's resilience and tactical prowess were proving to be a significant challenge. Commander Rin's leadership and the Legion's superior tactics kept them in the fight. and their counterattacks began to push back against the Council's advance. The battle was far from one-sided, with both sides exchanging heavy fire and suffering losses. On Earth, Daniel Rivers watched the conflict unfold with a mixture of pride and concern. The Hidden Legion was holding its ground, but the battle was fierce, and the outcome was uncertain. The fight for dominance was now a reality, and every maneuver and tactic could shift the balance of power. As the battle raged on, the stakes became clearer. The outcome would not only decide the immediate fate of the combatants, but also set the tone for future interactions between the Galactic Council and the Hidden Legion. The clash of forces continued, with each side determined to emerge victorious and secure their place in the galaxy's complex and ever-evolving hierarchy. The great battle in space had reached its peak. The galaxy watched in awe as the conflict between the Galactic Council's newly formed alliance and the Hidden Legion escalated into a fierce and dramatic showdown. The stakes were higher than ever, with each side determined to prove their strength and secure their dominance. The battlefield was a chaotic scene of flashing lights and explosive impacts. The Council's forces, supported by the Zalor Consortium, had launched their most powerful offensive yet. Their ships, brimming with advanced technology, fired relentlessly at the Hidden Legion. The Zalor ships, with their sleek designs and potent weaponry, spearheaded the assault, cutting through the darkness of space with precision. Commander Rin, commanding the Hidden Legion's forces, knew that this was the decisive moment. The Hidden Legion's ships, though outnumbered, were battle-hardened and strategically positioned. Rin had anticipated the Council's tactics and had prepared countermeasures to neutralize their advantages. The Legion's ships darted and wove through the chaos, evading attacks and launching their own counterstrikes with deadly efficiency. As the battle raged, the two sides clashed in close combat. The Council's ships tried to overwhelm the Hidden Legion with sheer numbers, but the Legion's agility and resilience kept them in the fight. The space around them was filled with the roar of energy weapons and the flash of explosions. Ships were damaged, some falling into the cold void of space as they were overwhelmed by enemy fire. The Zalor Consortium, in a bold move, attempted a daring maneuver. They concentrated their firepower on the Hidden Legion's command ships, hoping to disrupt their coordination and create an opening for the Council's main forces. The concentrated assault was intense, with energy beams slicing through the darkness and creating massive bursts of light. Commander Rin, however, was prepared for this. His ships executed evasive maneuvers, using their advanced shields and countermeasures to deflect the Zalor's attacks. Despite the heavy bombardment, the Legion's command ships remained intact. Rin directed his forces to launch a counteroffensive, targeting the Zalor's most vulnerable positions in retaliation. On Earth, Daniel Rivers observed the battle's progression with a growing sense of urgency. The Hidden Legion's defense was holding strong, but the tide of the battle was shifting. The sheer scale and ferocity of the conflict were pushing the limits of their strategy and resources. In a dramatic twist, the Hidden Legion launched a surprise assault of their own. Using their advanced stealth technology, they managed to slip past the Council's defenses and strike at key targets within their fleet. The sudden and unexpected attack caught the Council off guard, causing chaos and confusion within their ranks. The Council's forces struggled to regroup as the Hidden Legion's ships targeted their supply lines and command centers. The battle became a desperate struggle for control, with both sides fighting fiercely to gain the upper hand. The scene was a flurry of activity, with explosions, debris, and the relentless exchange of fire creating a breathtaking display of galactic warfare. As the battle reached its climax, both sides were exhausted but determined. The outcome of this monumental clash would decide the fate of the galaxy's balance of power. Each side fought with everything they had, knowing that the result of this battle would shape the future of their struggle for dominance and respect in the galaxy. The big battle had become a defining moment, showcasing the courage, strategy, and tenacity of both the Galactic Council and the Hidden Legion. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see which side would emerge victorious and what the next chapter in this epic conflict would bring. The echo of the final battle slowly faded, leaving the galaxy in a tense silence. The fierce conflict between the Galactic Council and the Hidden Legion had come to a dramatic end, with the outcome reshaping the future for both sides. In the aftermath of the battle, the vast expanse of space was littered with debris from the destroyed ships and shattered alliances. The Galactic Council, though battered and bruised, had emerged as the victor. The Hidden Legion, despite their valiant efforts, had been pushed back, their forces suffering heavy losses. The Zaylor Consortium's support had proven crucial in tipping the scales in favor of the Council. Grand Speaker Zorath surveyed the damage from the safety of the Council's flagship. The once proud fleet now bore the scars of battle, and the Council's leadership knew that the road to recovery would be long and arduous. Zorath's gaze was resolute as he addressed his advisors. "We have won the battle, but the war has left us with a fractured galaxy. It is time to build a new order, one that ensures peace and stability." The Council's victory was celebrated across their territories, but it was tempered by the recognition of the costs of war. Many worlds had been affected by the conflict, and the Council faced the challenge of rebuilding and restoring trust. Efforts began to mend relations with former adversaries and to address the grievances that had fueled the conflict. On the other side, the Hidden Legion regrouped. Commander Rin, despite the defeat, remained a figure of respect and strength. The Legion's surviving forces were reorganizing, and Rin was focused on ensuring that their future would be different. The conflict had taught them valuable lessons, and Rin was determined to use that knowledge to forge a new path. Daniel Rivers, who had been a key figure in the Hidden Legion's efforts, reflected on the battle's outcome. The experience had been grueling, but it had also brought clarity. The galaxy was a complex place, and the fight for power was only one aspect of its vast tapestry. Daniel knew that the Hidden Legion needed to reassess its approach and seek new ways to engage with the galaxy's evolving landscape. As the galaxy began to heal, new dialogues and negotiations started. The Galactic Council, recognizing the need for a broader peace, reached out to various factions, including the Zaylor Consortium, to create a framework for future cooperation. The goal was to establish a lasting peace and prevent future conflicts. The new alliances formed during the battle were instrumental in this process, and diplomatic efforts were underway to solidify these relationships. In a significant gesture, the Galactic Council invited representatives from the Hidden Legion to participate in peace talks. The aim was to address the issues that had led to the conflict and to explore opportunities for collaboration. Commander Rin, though cautious, saw this as a chance to build a new understanding and to move beyond the hostilities of the past. The galaxy was entering a period of reconstruction and renewal. The battle had shown both the cost of conflict and the possibility of cooperation. The scars of war would remain, but they also served as a reminder of the need for unity and mutual respect. As the dust settled, the galaxy faced a new beginning. The lessons learned from the recent conflict would shape the future, guiding efforts toward a more harmonious and balanced existence. The struggle for dominance had given way to the challenge of rebuilding and forging a new path forward, one where peace and collaboration would be the cornerstones of a brighter future for all.